Welcome to the Play Their Way podcast, where we talk about all things in child first coaching. I'm your host, Laura Jane Jones, and today I'm excited to welcome our special guest, Daisey Cotterill. Welcome, Daisey. How are you?
Hello, I'm good, thank you.
Thanks for coming down from the West Country. Daisey is the West Country, the Black Country.
Yeah.
Because people are going to get your accent very quickly.
Yeah, very quickly.
Daisey's the founder and MD of Any Girl Netball, who've been big supporters of Play Their Way along the way. But before we dig into Play Their Way, tell me a bit more about how Any Girl Netball came about.
Yeah, so I'd like to say I probably got really involved in sport when I was around 11. I know I was involved in sport, and I know like Russ Smith, who we're going to get to, was like in our primary school doing a lot of the sport stuff. They created cards and we were very active, which was a good thing because it isn't like that in the West Midlands everywhere. So started high school and I went to an after-school club and it was netball. I'd never heard of it, didn't even know it was. And then, I went to this after-school club, and then very quickly the teachers around us must have seen something in us. We couldn't catch at this time, bear in mind, but they must have seen something in us because possibly within 2 years, so I started high school in 2011. By 2012, we had a club. So they started a netball club, and I'd say maybe within 12 months of that club starting, we then went to county finals, regional finals. We got through to national school finals and club finals. So we went from basically not being able to catch to playing against the best in the country, and that doesn't happen for a school in a deprived area at all. Like everyone always says, if you were in America, there'd be a Netflix documentary made about it. Like, it was like that though. Like we went from not even knowing what the sport was to being thrown into performance netball and going to England finals. And I think in the end, when it was maybe 2016, we finished 5th in the country, and we were the top state schools. The schools that finished above us were all private schools. They have the money, we didn't. We were lucky enough to have a head teacher that bought into what we were doing, and having Russ Smith around, like I say, really pushing us to do what we were doing. And I think that's really a testament to the people around us and the staff and the teachers and our coaches. It really does show that when coaches and staff care about the young people, amazing things can happen. Because looking back, like, you don't see that in Samwell at all. You don't see it in a lot of deprived areas. Private schools get to these finals year on year. Deprived schools don't. So yeah, that's kind of how I got into netball. With that, it was all the wraparound support. So going from different tournaments across the country, going outside of West Brom, for me it wasn't anything new, but for my team and the girls that we played with, it was the first time they were leaving our little town. We were going to Wales, London, Liverpool. Like, we were literally going to like regional finals and then going to join the rest of our school trip in Barcelona, flying out the next day because it was that big of a deal. Like, we were very, very good at netball, but with that obviously came long hours training, like weight training, fitness training, and I think that did have a bit of a toll on all of us in terms of our bodies, and like mentally it was a lot. So I kind of then fell out of love with netball a little bit when I went to uni. I still played. I went to the University of Worcester, which was where Seven Stars was based at the time. So there was a lot of netball going on. I didn't know what I wanted to do at all when I left uni. I thought I wanted to be a PE teacher, so I did PE and sports coaching. Dropped the PE side of it because I decided I don't want to be a teacher at all. I hate this. I like the connections that you get in coaching with the young people and the adults that you work with. So then 3 weeks maybe at the end of my degree, I had a meeting with one of my mentors, who Rosie Williams. She was so good with me, and she said, well, you've just told me this whole story about what you did. Why don't you go back home and replicate that? You've got the lived experience. Like, no one else is going to get these kids like you. I was thinking, oh my gosh, maybe I'll do that. And then I'd say within 12 months, then I started Any Girl Netball, but with a different approach, because I think although it was amazing and I respect all of the staff and coaches that were involved in that period, it's a lot for 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old to take on. You go from literally having no opportunities to then like thrust into going around the country playing netball. The training on the body is a lot when you're going through puberty. Like we're all injured to some extent now. A lot of us don't play really. I don't really play anymore. So starting Any Girl, I really just wanted to emphasise the empowerment and the inclusivity, and it doesn't matter what background you're from, what you believe, what area you're from as well. Everyone deserves a place on the court, and everyone deserves to have someone in their corner, because I know as women we don't always feel like that in sport. So starting Any Girl really was just something for the girls and women in Sandwell, because there isn't anything there. So yeah, then I just started Any Girl and here we are.
It's an amazing story. One word that you've used there that I want to pick up on is connection, and those connections that you have with coaches and the connections that you have with those girls as someone from that area. But tell me about the beginning of netball at Stanwell when you were 11, 12 in high school. How did those coaches connect with a group who hadn't played the sport previously, and not just connect with them but learn from them to get them to grow so quickly?
I think just speaking to us. Like I think a lot of coaches expect a lot from young people. Just let us have fun, let us try the sport. Like I say, I just went to an after school club and it was outside, and I don't know why I even liked it, because I don't like the outside. I also was scarily shy when I was in school. My parents were quite concerned about me as well, because I didn't have all the confidence in the world, which is completely different now. But I didn't have this personality that I have now. I was very shy. I didn't have high self-esteem at all. And I think just gaining the trust of the staff, and like them gaining my trust, and being around girls that were just like me, and just having fun with friends, that's what they did for us. They offered us just people that actually saw us and listened to us. They would listen to the most random things we would talk about. We would go and braid the teachers' hairs. We would talk about rubbish, but they allowed that space for us. And I think that's what I now do at Any Girl. I entertain some of the most ridiculous stories from our girls, but to them it's not ridiculous. They've had a long day at school. They're having boyfriend drama or girl drama, as we all know happens with girls all the time. You just sit there and listen to them, and then you just build beautiful relationships with these young people, and you start to see their personalities come through. And once you gain their trust, especially girls in areas like Sandwell, they will literally do anything for you. And I think that's what we were like with our coaches at the time. We would do anything for them, and that's why we really bought into the sport and bought into training 6 times a week, sometimes playing games 3 times a week against adults, sometimes 2, travelling around the country, like, because we wanted to be there. We wanted to do as much as we could for our coaches, which to a fault sometimes, possibly.
You talk about being listened to by those coaches. Was that the first time that you realised you had a voice?
For me personally, like, I would say 100%, and I say this to the girls all the time, like my staff, that I do feel like I never knew what my place was. Like, that's why I was so shy. I always say I wasn't very shy. I was just observant. Like, if I didn't want to speak to someone, I wouldn't, and I'm like that now. But I do feel it just felt like people were seeing us for who we were. I didn't have to try and fake it or act like the popular girls or anything like that. We could just be ourselves. And I think that is so nice as a girl and a woman. Sometimes you don't have to put a facade on. You don't have to act a certain way or you're just yourself.
Play Their Way has obviously been a part of your system there. Is it because it's a framework for coaching, or is it a case that voice, choice and journey are just something that really resonate with you as an individual?
I think it is just something that I've always, even at uni, we did child-centred coaching all the time, and I've never known anything different. Like, I genuinely haven't known it. Like, yes, to an extent, our coaches, when I was in the performance environment, of course they kind of do take, when you get very good, they do kind of take it away from you a little, as in your voice. Like, they want you to do certain things. You have to be at a certain level. But that's why when I started Any Girl, that's the centre of everything we do. We listen to the girls, we give them a voice, we make sure they're heard and seen. It is up to them, the sessions. We don't have very much structure. It is whatever they want to do. Like, yes, we'll say we want to do a warm-up, a little drill now, or a game, then we'll get into match play. But it is ultimately up to them. And like our young leaders, we have about 30 young leaders within Any Girl Netball, and it's up to them what they want to do. Because it is their journey.
You talked about your disengagement with netball as you were leaving school and going to uni, and then you've mentioned that the better you got as a side, the less coaches listened to you. Did those two things go hand in hand, do you think? Do you think that having that voice stripped away from you was what turned you off?
I do think so. I just feel like, and this is no disrespect to them, because I don't think I've ever actually said this out loud, that it did feel like a lot of pressure, because it ultimately went from you're good at netball or you enjoy the sport and you're just having fun to, well, we've got national finals next week, we have to do this, you have to do this, we have to go to this training, you have to be here to play. That is how it did end up. And I always say the staff and the coaches around that environment, I still have a lot of respect for them, because I wouldn't be where I am today without that experience. I wouldn't have started Any Girl without that experience, and it really has made me into the coach I am now, and the role model, which I hate to use, but kids do look up to us. I do feel that is why I potentially dropped off netball, because it was a lot, and when you're going through puberty, and as women we have periods and our hormones and everything that happens, it gets a lot. The stress is too much. We were going to national finals and then sitting 13 GCSEs. It was a lot for us. And I think the girls that I played with back then, that's family. We're still very much a family. We still catch up, we still talk, because we went through something so unique, I would say. But I think we all have dropped off in terms of playing, and we all kind of lost the love at the same time. But then I've refound it, I guess, going back into coaching, and if I'm honest, I am glad that I had the time to reflect during the COVID years, because I think that's where then I did rediscover the love for netball.
When you talk about that drop-off and that period of time where you all kind of stepped away from it, had it been a more child-centred environment, do you think that would have happened?
I think that if it's difficult, because we wanted to do well. So I'm not mad at the situation not being child-centred or fun, because we would not have got to where we were without the structure we had. But I do feel possibly I would have wanted to play a little bit more at university than I did, because I only played in my first year, and then COVID happened, and kind of it was difficult. But I do think I needed that time to find the love again, and I know we've sat together, the team that I played with, and we all kind of have the same opinion that we did lose the love because of the fact we didn't find it fun anymore. We really didn't. It was kind of like a job. Like, we have to go to regional finals, we have to do well. And I think we just wanted our coach's approval all the time, because that's the person we looked up to. So yeah, it was difficult for everyone involved in that situation, I think, because no one had done that before.
How do you square it now in your own environment with those girls who do want success and do want competition, but your kind of chronic awareness of what put you off when you were there and you were that girl?
Yeah, because as we know as well, 16, 17 years old, that is when a lot of girls drop off anyway. And for some reason, at Any Girl Netball, we seem to be getting girls at 15 and 16, and then they're staying around. So I don't know what I've done. I honestly don't know what we've done. I think we just reel. We let them do what they want to do. Of course, girls want competition, and the girls come to us all the time. Can we have a team now? Can we please do this? Can you please get a team? But I think with that, there's then no time because I'll just be doing netball 24/7, 25/8, if that's even possible, because it's a lot of netball, and we're happy keeping it within just an inclusive, like, fun setting. There is competition, like us coaches step on the court and we'll show them the competition. You won't competition play against us. Sometimes we'll kind of like step off a little bit and let them think that they're and then we'll step it up, and I think that's how we keep them entertained. We go to tournaments and stuff, and we just keep the heart of any girl as this is a community, it's not a team.
What are the metrics that you measure success on in that environment then? Outside of girls having enjoyment and having fun, are you looking for improvement individuals? Is it long-term participation? Is it retention? What are your metrics, Daisy, for Any Girl Netball?
I would say retention's one of the biggest ones, because when you see a girl that you've had from 6 and now she's in high school in year 7, so she's like 11, 12, you know that you've done a good job because they've gone to high school and still want to be with you. And like I say, when you've got a girl that comes and she's in year 10 or 11, like, that doesn't usually happen, especially for girls and especially for black girls, Asian girls, because they don't often have the environment. So for me, and the kids always ask me, like, when do you know that you're doing well? And I said it's when we have full sessions. If we have a full session, and if girls continue to come back every week, I'm happy. That is my success, because we've created something that you all want to be at. You all have long days at school and you're still here. You all have crazy days and you still want to come and sit next to us and tell us about your day.
You've talked about Any Girl Netball existing in a deprived area, and those girls from groups that perhaps haven't had access to a sport like netball or sport full stop for them. So how important is a child-centred approach to make sure that they're engaged, that they feel comfortable, that they feel welcome, and to keep them coming back?
I think it's one of the most important things that you can do in sport for any child, but specifically girls and women, and specifically in deprived areas, because, like I say, there isn't very many opportunities. I think we might possibly be one of the only, bar a couple, female-only organisation. We get girls that parents will come and they'll say, we thought that she hated sport. She's never wanted to be around sport. We take her and drag her around to her brother's game. She hates it. She doesn't want to be there. They bring them 1 week and they've never left. So I think it genuinely is just having a community feel, having something that feels like a family, where all the staff are friendly with the kids and friends, if I'm honest. You've got to get along with the staff, and then the young leaders, because then the girls can see there's actually a development here. I'm not just here to play, I can be so much more. And we don't feel that everywhere, especially in sport, but they, at Any Girl Netball, feel that there's a pathway to something. They don't have to want to be a coach in the end, but we can provide them with sport, qualifications, mentoring, and they're happy. They can see, because the girls are leading the session and they know that could be me one day.
What does child-centred look like to you in practice? Is it one-to-one coaching? Is it a group think? How do you deal with it as a practitioner in that space?
It really depends on the child, I think. If you've got a more able child, you can't apply what you're doing with the group to that child. That then isn't child-centred for them. So you have to just get to know the kids. You need to know the kids. You need to know their abilities. Use the more able girls in our sessions as leaders, because then they're actually getting something out of it as well. They're learning the soft skills they need later on in life for employability. They're learning how to manage a group of other girls. They're learning to become better players, but better people. And then with group settings, just asking them what they want to do. It's really not that hard to be a child-centred deliverer It's not. I think people do it wrong a lot of the time because they think they need to do so much more as a coach. You don't. Coaching doesn't have to look like shouting or talking so much in sessions. Step back, let them have fun in the session, let them direct the session almost, and then you just come in when you need to.
Any Girl Netball sounds like a pink utopia of sport and femininity. And I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I don't know about 15, 16-year-old girls coming. I'm 37 and I can't wait to come to a session. But you started this within a year of graduating from university. You were incredibly young and it can't have been without hiccups and speed bumps. So where have those challenges come, not just in terms of getting something like this off the ground, but from your own coaching experiences? What have you learnt along the way?
To not control everything. Me personally, I like to be in control of everything. Just because then you know nothing can go wrong. But taking a step back and letting others. I think at the very start of Any Girl, it was just myself and one of my other coaches, who I've happened to coach since she was 11. She's now 21. So we have the same brain pretty much. And when I started it, I'd let her do the sessions, and I was actually still going to university at the time to do my masters, and then I dropped out of my masters and discovered I don't need education. I have the lived experience I need to do this on my own. I really don't need another piece of paper to tell me that I can do this. If I'm honest, I probably didn't even need my degree, but it helped along the way.
Yeah.
I think the biggest challenges were control and money. I know everyone says that there isn't very much money going around, but with our sessions, it's not that kids don't want to pay. They would if they could. They really can't. We've got kids in families that have got 6 other siblings. They've got parents that are working 3 jobs, or they just don't have the resources to be able to pay for something like that. So I think with that comes proving people wrong, that just because it's free doesn't mean it's bad. It's free because it should be. They should have these opportunities. So I think it's taken a while for people to realise, just because it's free, it's not bad. It's actually really good. And like I say, money, control, letting go a little bit. If I'm honest, and we work with another organisation called Just Play Basketball. They do exactly the same as what we do, but for basketball. And myself and Chloe, who's their director, have sat down and discussed this a lot. If I'm honest, being a woman was difficult. And I'm guessing you're not very surprised. It was because I was young, as you've noted. And I had no idea what I was doing in that sense, being a director of a company. I didn't know I needed an accountant. I didn't know that I needed people to help me do certain I didn't know anything. So along the way, there wasn't very many other women. I didn't have Chloe at that time. So it was mainly just men. And I did struggle with that a lot because there was inappropriate behaviours, comments, and just me feeling like I didn't belong. And I did really struggle with that, I'm not going to lie, because I didn't see myself in the environment at all. I'd go into meetings or like network meetings and I'd be one of 5 women, 30 men that have been doing it a long time and didn't think I had something good enough to say. I did struggle with that. Now working with Chloe, we've had the same experiences. She started Just Play, I started Any Girl. We had the same experience. She struggled with being a woman in sport, and so did I. And I think that has definitely helped with that challenge, having another woman that completely gets it.
As a young woman, I say that in a non-patronising way, just you were genuinely incredibly young and a woman in that environment. You've also got, as well as those kids you're coaching, you've got a layer of coaches underneath you.
Yeah.
So how challenging has it been to make sure that they're drinking from the same Kool-Aid of play their way and a child-first approach in practice?
So all of our staff are created from within. So they've either been participants of me personally through the years. So, for example, I mentioned Izzy. She's one of our coaches that I've had for 10 years. I've known her for longer than that now, but at the time of starting it, I'd known her for 10 years. I'd coached her for like probably 7 of those. And then the other staff were all girls that started as participants when we first started, and we saw something in them that would make a very good coach. So we fast-tracked them through different coaching qualifications and workshops with Russ Smith and Coaches Club CIC, who have really helped us to provide that for our girls, because grow your own is so important, because they buy into your goals, missions, and where you want any girl to go and how you want it to be coached straight away, because they've experienced it. So it's easier. People, specifically in our area and working with women and girls, are the most important aspect of it all. You have to have the right people that understand the girls, that are relatable, that understand what they're going through, that have the lived experience like I do, for it to work, I think. There's no way that I could have... I'm very, very picky when it comes to having external staff. They have to completely get what I'm saying, if that makes sense. Because I think if you're not from an area that we're from, if you're not experiencing everything that is as a woman, but also then as a Black, Asian, ethnic minority, female, you're not going to get these kids at all.
Tell me more about the beacon of hope and leadership in your community that you've already spoken about. Tell me more about Russ Smith.
So I met Russ when I was in primary school. And then when I went to high school, he was there again. Couldn't get rid of him. And he's the reason that we had our coach pretty much. So the school that I was in, we had a netball development officer. That's not something that ever happens anywhere. And we had her, Kate Roberts, and we had Vanessa Lindo and other people around that. But it was ultimately like Russ that was driving all of that change at the time, which I didn't realise until now. So all through school, like the street games events we'd go to at the time when Russ was there, like it just opened our eyes to different opportunities as girls, because we'd see the boys going to do different things, but then we were getting those opportunities, and we were actually given the opportunities first then, because we were so keen. And then leaving school and starting Any Girl, I've reconnected with Russ. Not that we ever lost touch, but I think starting Any Girl, I knew and understood the importance of having that connection with Russ, because he's been doing it for so long. And I guess now, today, he does mentor me. He says like, we'll just do a bit of a mentoring session here, and it's really helped, because he really understands coaching and organisations like Any Girl in the West Midlands, and so myself, Just Play and Coaches Club CIC have all partnered together now to offer youth sports leaders courses that are directly targeted at girls, because it's a different content that you need to deliver to girls. You can't just keep talking about football or this or the things that boys like, because then they feel like they don't have a place in sport at all. So having that connection with Russ and Coaches Club CIC is taken what we can offer to the next level, because we're not just talking about it, we're doing it. And I know Russ and James Bragg love that saying, we're not talking sports development, we're doing it. But it is true, everyone talks so much about we need to do this or this needs to happen. We're actually able to provide these opportunities for the girls now. We can make them into coaches. We can diversify the coaching landscape by giving the girls in the areas that really need it the opportunities.
How much would you love in 15 years' time for one of your charges, one of your awards at Any Girl, to talk about you in the way that you talk about Russ now?
It'd be nice, obviously, but I hate hate any of the kids ever talking about me like that, because I don't do it for any of that. And I think as women we're really bad at that, just taking the compliments and understanding the good work that you're doing. And like having Chloe from Just Play has really helped me understand that just accept it, have your moment. So it would be nice to hear some other girls say that. I always like it when like they'll weave us into like a school project or something like that. Like it means so much more to me knowing that they think about us outside of being with us, being at a session, because it means that you are making an impact there and you are clearly a big part of their lives.
Daisy, I've got no doubt that, let alone in a decade's time, the girls are talking about you in that way now. Thank you so much for coming on today. This was such a wonderful conversation.
It's okay, thank you. Thanks for having me. It was fun.
Thanks for listening wherever you are. If you've enjoyed the podcast today, be sure to leave us a review and share this with someone else who you think might like it too. And follow Play Their Way on social media at Play Their Way on TikTok and LinkedIn, and at Play Their Way UK on Facebook and Instagram. See you soon.